Is the administration of criminal justice in Nigeria a witch hunt or a fight for national interest? To some keen observers, the prosecution process, especially when it comes to high-profile cases, has been rather slow and sloppy. What do you make of the Senate's rejection of the confirmation of the acting EFCC chairman, Mr. Ibrahim Magu? And how does the Attorney General of the Federation, ABUBAKAR Malami, see Mr. Magu's claim to still be in charge of the EFCC until the president says otherwise? It's question time. Welcome to the program. I'm Benga Ashiru. You may also join in this conversation by sending us your comments on our various social media platforms showing on your screen. By the way, the Justice Minister claims his order of the DSS arrest of some suspected judges on alleged complicity of bribery is a constitutional mandate. How would posterity preserve this, considering an accusation of vendetta against him? In a bid to put things in the proper perspective, Channels TV crew caught up with the Justice Minister and the Attorney General of the Federation, ABUBAKAR Malami. It says the Justice Ministry would rather take its time to conduct proper investigation rather than committing itself to miscarriage of justice. Join us in this exclusive interview.
Well, I think by way of analysis of the justice sector reform, you have to look at it from two different perspectives in period sense. I am talking about period before the coming into being of the present administration and what of tense before this administration comes into play. It is indeed true to state that there were cases that have been pending in court for over a period of 10 years before the coming into place of this administration. But then by way of analysis, I have to draw your attention to some of the higher profile cases that comes into play after the coming into being of the present administration. Take, for example, the cases relating to judicial officers that were arraigned some times back. For your information, and I believe you have been monitoring the development, it is conclusive that these cases have reached advanced stages. For example, the case of the prosecution has been closed within a period of 2 to 3 months, as against the conventional practice before the coming into being of this administration, where cases remain for over 6-7 years without even being kick-started. So I think in fairness to the justice sector reform being pursued by the present administration, you have to differentiate between the two, the period before coming into play of this government and then the period thereafter. We have religiously been guided by the Administration of Criminal Justice Act as far as prosecution of cases is concerned. And indeed, we have taken our time to ensure adequate investigation is indeed carried out as it relates to the prosecution of these cases, and indeed stand our ground that the prosecution must equally be alive to its responsibility.
Now, in your attempt to restore public confidence in the judiciary, you ordered the DSS arrest of some judges alleged of complicity in some corrupt cases. And you said that was a constitutional mandate. But on the flip side, some of these judges, especially Justice Ademola, have accused you of being vindictive, of trying to get back at him because he ordered your arrest and detention between 2004 and 2008.
Well, as you rightly stated, it's perception. But the truth of the matter is whether indeed there exists a prima facie case against the judge in question as it relates to the commission of alleged criminal offenses. When there exists on the ground facts pointing to a direction of criminality, I think no other consideration should hold water as it relates to vendetta. More so, the arrest or invasion or perhaps what I call investigation relating to judicial officers was not in any way particular about individual.
The public would want to know, did Justice Ademola order your arrest at any point in time?
No, the truth of the matter, I have to clearly say, was an issue that borders on similar allegations of criminality. And then there was a case I was handling before him that borders on, that has to do with the importation of fertilizer by a certain company. One of the company happened to be my client. There was an application on the other side for the sale, attachment and sale of the fertilizer. And I filed a response by way of counter affidavit to the application. That application was taken, and Justice Ademola dismissed the application of the parties on the other side as it relates to the attachment and sale of the fertilizer. In all sincerity, certain undertones relating to compromises on my part set into the process after the dismissal of the application. So the same application that was dismissed was equally brought back subsequently. I appealed against the application to the Court of Appeal, and then the Court of Appeal now, an application was equally filed for the stay of execution of the judgment and of the order that was earlier on granted by Justice Ademola. And then notwithstanding the fact that there was a pending application, notwithstanding the fact that a date has been fixed for the application, His Lordship, in his own wisdom, decided to overlook same and then ordered for the sale of the fertilizer at a grossly undervalued price.
Given an established case of bad blood between you and some of these judges, it's difficult to believe that you would discharge your office without bias, especially on this case.
The fact that there was previous misunderstanding, if you choose to call it so, does not stop me from advancing the public interest at whatever point when the need for so doing arises. Now, let me ask you a question. Are you saying simply because there was a certain misunderstanding between Justice Ademola and myself that if there exists any need